Good evening. Here is the world news from BGI TV, Baba Bagede Igbo TV. I am Morire Rabila Lawal. First are the major headlines for the world news. Boko Haram financiers wants to split Nigeria. Buhari asks Senate to confirm appointment of new ICPC members. I will deal decisively with secessionists, Kola Abiola vows. Pay our severance allowance, our Muslims aides beg Governor Abiodun. Ebonyi traders cry out over demolition of shops, alleged extortion by government officials. Kidnappers release 2 Osun farmers after 6 million naira payment. Boko Haram terrorists launch attack on Borno community again. More headlines: unknown gunmen kill police inspector. And to foreign, Gambia vice president dies in India. And finally on sports, Iranian club side AFU FC signed Nigerian midfielder on loan. Now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday said Boko Haram is false and the financiers just want to split the country with the support to terrorize the country. The president stated this when he met with President of Abu Dhabi Peace Forum, Sheikh Abdullahi bin Bayya, at the sidelines of the African Conference for Peace held in Nouakchott, Mauritania. President Buhari recounted effort made to extirpate the Boko Haram ideology in Nigeria. In a statement issued by his spokesman, Femi Adesina, wondered why the group, along with the Islamic State of West African province, ISWAP, wanted to split the country with their act. Boko Haram is false. You say Western education is ungodly. It is fraudulent. Whoever is financing them just want to split the country. All the grounds they seized before we came have been recovered, and the rebuilding process is ongoing, the president concluded. Moving on to the next story. President Muhammadu Buhari has written to the Senate seeking confirmation of the appointment of 7 members of the Independent Crime Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC). The letter was addressed to Senate President Ahmed Lawan and read shortly after the commencement of Tuesday's plenary. Appointment of members of Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC) in accordance with the provisions of Section 3 and 7 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000, I write to forward for confirmation to the Senate the underlisted name of 7 members of ICPC, stated the letter. It added, they are Justice Adamu Bello retired, Katsina Northwest, Anatu Mohammed, Jigawa Northwest, Mrs. Olubukola Balogun, Lagos Southwest. Others are Obiora Igwe Dibia, Anambra Southeast, Abdullahi Seidu, Niger North Central, Dauda Umar Nasara North Central, and Grace Chinda Delta South. Mr. Buhari hoped that the distinguished Senate will consider and confirm the appointment in the usual expeditious manner. Moving on to the next story. Presidential candidate of the People's Redemption Party, PRP, Kola Abiola, has vowed to deal decisively with secessionists if elected Nigerian president. Kola Abiola made this vow at the presidential party organized by the Southwest Development Stakeholders Forum in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. The PRP presidential candidates declared that their action was unconstitutional and amounted to treason. He insisted that he would not accept any action that would threaten the unity of Nigeria if elected, saying his administration would encourage them if only it would not affect the unity of Nigeria. And to the next story on the world news this hour. Special assistants that served under the Amosun administration have written to Governor Abiodun to offset their severance gratuity. The political office holders served the Ogun state government between 2015 and 2019. Governor Abiodun met with former aides of the ex-governor on September 1st, 2022 and promised to offset their severance gratuity. In the earlier letter obtained by correspondent, which was signed by 4 aides of the former governor. The public servant paid a glowing tribute to the current administration. We wish to place on record our appreciation of your giant strides since May 29, 2019. In particular, we note the construction of the all-important Abeokuta-Shagamu Interchange Road. We note, and among other massive construction projects going on across the state, no one can ignore the fact that you not only retained the 2,000 workers employed by the previous administration before yours, but went ahead to pay them 9-month salaries, which presently surpassed expectations of the citizens of Boko State. The Rrør Justice confirms your human kindness. Speaking to journalists in Ilaro, a former special assistant who created anonymity said the political office holders under ex-governor Amosun passed through untold financial hardship. The former governor, he said, serially denied them their legitimate entitlement. The most unfortunate thing is that Amosun diverted our remunerations to myriad of projects which himself labor abandoned at a loss both to us and the state. The former office holder praised Governor Abiodun for paying and, as when due, running courts to MDAs and his political appointees, in sharp contrast with the former administration. He appealed to the governor to fulfill his pledge to the former special assistants who have waited in expectation for falling so years. From southwest to some parts in the east, about 2,000 traders in Ebonyi State International Market have cried out over the alleged illegal demolition of their shops by agents of the government. The traders, who are majorly yam sellers located at Lot 2 of the international market, called out on the state government for the alleged extortion of tax they endure in the market. One of the traders, who spoke to Daily Post on conditions of anonymity, said the illegal demolition of the shops was done after the payment of over 50,000 naira demanded from them by the governor's special assistant on market development, Ngozi Obichukwu. Another trader, a widow, also accused the governor's special assistant of masterminding the demolition, stressing that the demolition will increase the pain, hardship, and sufferings of traders. The women claimed over 2,000 traders paid 50,000 naira each for the allocation of the shops, which is currently being demolished on the alleged instructions of the governor's aides. One trader, who narrated her order in tears, petitioned Governor David Umahi for immediate intervention, stressing that many of the yam sellers borrowed huge loans from banks and financial institutions to build the shops that are now being demolished by the government. The traders also alleged that they are forced to pay the 50,000 naira every day as a toll, even after the initial payment of 50,000 naira had been paid. Moving on to the next story. In Osun, the abductors of 2 Osun farmers, Samuel Oyedotun and Tobiloba Fashola, have released their victims alongside one of the relatives that went to deliver the money. Platform Times recalled that 2 farmers were kidnapped while returning from their farm along Ede Ilogbo Road in Ayedire local government area of Osun State last Wednesday, and the abductors demanded for 25 million naira. The kidnappers later agreed to collect 6 million naira, which was delivered to them in a border town community between Kogi and Kwara states. 3 relatives, including the elder brother of Samuel, named Sunday, was detained after they delivered money to them, and fresh 24 million naira was demanded for their release. A family source confirmed on Wednesday morning that Samuel and Tobiloba, that were earlier abducted, have been released around a bush kidnapped, while another relative, who was among those that went to deliver the money in Kogi State, was released. When contacted over the release, the spokesman of the Osun State Police Command, Yemisi Opalola, confirmed the incidents. From Osun State to another story. Sources said insurgents armed with sophisticated weapons sneaked into the farms on Tuesday evening. Fighters of the Boko Haram sect have invaded farmlands in Makilwe village, Jere local government area of Borno State, killing 1 farmer. About 8 farmers were abducted by the terrorists. According to one of the sources, family of those abducted have been contacted by the sect, who demanded millions of naira. Boko Haram abducted 8 farmers and killed 1 here at the village, where it is 3 kilometers from Jere LGA headquarters, Kadamari. The incident took place on Tuesday, January 17, 2023, around 4 p.m. The families have been contacted and millions of naira have been demanded from them. The abduction took place 2 kilometers from Zabamari, the infamous place where 50 farmers were slaughtered by Boko Haram 2 years ago. There is a military battalion of 300 soldiers in the village. The attackers came on 10 brand new bikes, he told Rrør reporters. Boko Haram has increasingly targeted farmers, herders, and loggers, accusing them of spying and passing information to the Nigerian military. And to the next story. Information gathered that suspected members of the Eastern Security Network, ESN, have been accused of killing a police inspector at Indiegoro police station in Aba, Abia State. The incident reportedly happened at about 12:30 p.m. on Tuesday in Oak Road, Iyeoji Junction in Aba. During the incident, 2 of the attackers were neutralized by the police in a shoring gunfight. NAN disclosed that the Abia State Police Public Relations Officer SP Geoffrey Ogbonna confirmed the incident. Ogbonna said some policemen from Indiegoro police station were on patrol around Iyeoji when they came under attack by people suspected to be ESN and IPOB personnel. During the gun duel, one of the policemen paid the supreme price while 2 of the gunmen were neutralized. As they shot the policeman, they also collected his police AK-47 rifle, he said. In case you're just joining, you are watching the world news coming from BGI TV this hour. Next is the foreign story. President Adama Barrow, who disclosed these in a tweet, announced that a tragic incident happened in India. Vice President Badara of the Gambia is dead. Fellow #Gambians, it is with a heavy heart that I announce the passing away of my Vice President, His Excellency Badara Aliyu Jof. The sad event took place in India after a short illness. May Allah grant him Jannatul Firdaus, he tweeted. The Vice President died after a short illness. The President neither mentioned the time of his death nor stated whether he was receiving treatment in India. According to his profile on Wikipedia, Jof was a student at Armitage High School and trained as a teacher himself at Eton Teachers College. He held a Bachelor of Education degree from the University of Bristol, a Master's degree in English Literature from the University of London, and a Master's degree in Development Economics from the University of Bath. Job began his career as a qualified teacher teaching English at the Gambia College. He was then head of the Department of Language and Literature at Nusrat High School. He was a permanent secretary at the Ministry of Education for many years. In March 2002, it was reported that he had been transferred to the permanent secretary at the Ministry of Local Government and Lands. Jof worked as the World Bank liaison officer to the Gambia. In this role, he assisted Higher Education Minister Mariama Ceesay in introducing a new education policy to the Gambia before becoming the vice president and before his death. Finally, on sports. Tanzania Premier League club side EFU FC have announced the arrival of Nigerian midfielder Nelson Okwa on loan from the remainder of the season. Okwa moved to EFU FC from Tanzania giant Simba FC. The Petite midfielder linked up with Simba from Nigeria Premier League Football Club champions Rivers United last year, but was unable to secure a regular playing berth at the club. His wages will be paid by both EFU and Simba. EFU confirmed his arrival on social media on Wednesday. Nelson Okwa is here. Welcome, attacking midfielder. The club wrote on their official Twitter handle to welcome their new player. That ends the world news this hour. Before we go, some major headlines. Boko Haram financiers want to split Nigeria, Buhari cries out. Buhari asked Senate to confirm appointment of new ICPC members. We also brought to you an interesting one. I will deal decisively with secessionist Kola Abiola vows. And lastly, as usual on sports, Tanzanian club EFU FC signed Nigerian midfielder on loan. For more updates on our YouTube handle, and the handle is Babagide Imo TV. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access our broadcast. On Facebook, Bagide Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page. On Instagram, Bagide Imo _22. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen for advert placement only. I am Morire Rebila Lawal. Good evening.
Oh, na, na, na. If you want to know what's going on in city, or you want to listen to the latest news and gist, no stress, oh, just tune to BGI TV. BGI TV, you are one in a million.